Hello friends and my lovely viewers. Welcome back to the channel of Neon Safe. Today we will rank the champions in Bloodline. Let's get started.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. I'm tired of shit.
The ranking will be based on PvP battles, and goes from the S tier and all the way down to F tier. Simply put, the S tiers are the must-have champions in Bloodline, while the A tier champions are considered to be very good and worth investing in. The B tiers are average, and thus we may also invest in them, but we shouldn't pour all our resources into these champions. As for the C tiers, the champions of this rank are not very good, and may not contribute much to the team. They can be good in certain settings, against specific champions and whatnot, but they are not worth it in the long run. D tiers are straight up weak and should not be placed in the team, and F tiers are absolutely horrible and may even hinder the other champions of our team. So F tiers should absolutely not be used in battles no matter what. That being said, let's begin with our Yivnian clan. Female Yivnian is a single target DPS type, who usually would be placed in the front or midfield in battle. She is not even near the amount of damage our newer champions deal, which makes her a solid D tier in my opinion. Male Yivnian is not much better, but as he debuffs enemies as well as deals damage, I'd say he fits more in the C tier. Overall, we should not invest our resources into this clan, since they are not contributing much to the team. The Seol clan consists of a pure DPS male champion and a female champion who debuffs the enemy and assists in dealing damage. This clan belongs way higher up on the ranks, but I cannot place them in the S tiers unfortunately. In my opinion, we may put both the male and female Seol in the A tier. This means they are worth investing into, if we do not have better champs to use. The Strixbane are deemed to be pretty much useless in battle. They are single target DPS champs whom I would almost place in the F tier. But they do not exactly hinder or mess with the other allies of our team, and thus we may place them in a solid D tier instead. This doesn't mean they are worth keeping in battle though, as they are still not a great pick for PvP battles, or any battles at all. The Nereid clan work the best in the back row or midfield of the battlefield. Our female champion of this clan deals damage to multiple enemies, and has proven to be amazing in battle. We may actually place her in the top S tier due to her usefulness. Unfortunately, we cannot give the same treatment to the male of this clan. He also deals damage to one or multiple enemies, but so far he just doesn't seem to function as brilliantly as the female Nereid. We may place him in the B tier, which means he is kinda okay to use in our team, but not exactly a champion we want to keep pouring our resources into. A clan I really want to just get out of our way is the Huntsdorf. Both the male and female of this clan are absolutely horrible in battle, and a clear F tier. They deal really low damage to enemies, and have an attack speed buff which is completely unnecessary and a waste of space. I think this clan may be the worst clan of Bloodline now that I think about it, so let's move on. The Stone Throwers are a decent clan in my opinion. The female deals damage and debuffs the enemy, while the male is a single target DPS champ. We may place both the female and male champion in a solid B tier to be honest. They may not be super extraordinarily awesome, but they do help out in battle to some extent. So if we have no better champion to use in our team, we may choose either one of these champs depending on our preference and team comp. The next clan in line is the Tideraisers. The male champion debuffs enemies while also contributing as a tank. We preferably place him in the front to properly use his potential as a tank. I personally believe him to be a solid B tier. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the extra stuff needed to enter higher tiers. As for the female, I honestly think we may place her in the A tier. Her skills are pretty useful to us, and we may want to invest in her if she fits in our team comp. The Bjornkriger clan consists of high tier female and male champs. The female works as a sustainable tank in the front row, while the male is more of a crowd control and supporter. They have proven to be really great in PvP battles, but not enough to hit the must-have league. So we may place both of these champions in the A tier. This clan may not be the very top of the top, but with the right traits and team comp, they are still better than most other champions. The Orost clan's female and male champions are straight up weak, and I believe they belong to the C tier. We should not invest our resources into them at all in my opinion. It is far better if we summon for other champions instead. The Gabar clan has very promising champions. Both the female and male focus on crowd control and tanking. The female rules in the front row of the battlefield and is the clear superior champion of this clan. I'd say she may fit in the S tier due to how capable she is in battle. The male on the other hand is more of an average champion who is better suitable for the B tier. He doesn't lend us any over-the-top advantages in battle, so he looks more like a typical normal champion to be honest. The Fulgur clan's champions deal AoE-based damage, and are preferably placed in the back or midfield in battle. I honestly don't think either of these champions are worth it, though the male could possibly be a B tier. But as for the female, she is more of a C tier nowadays. So if we have to choose between one of these champions, it is better to go for the male. We should not invest too much resources into him, but he is an alright champion to temporarily fill in a spot. The Requiem clan has a female and male champion who I believe we may place in the A tiers. The female champion focuses on buffing teammates and debuffing the enemy, while the male champion buffs the allies and deals damage to the enemy. We may consider placing them in the back row, if we decide to use one of them in our team. The Luxurian clan's female and male champions both focus on crowd control and sub-DPS. These champions do not belong to the high tiers in my opinion, as they in general do not contribute much to the team. The female fits in the C tier, while the male is more of a D tier. We used to really like the female champion a lot due to the charm ability of her ultimate skill, but with today's meta champions, this charm of hers is no longer significant in battle. The Loom clan has one great champion, and one champion that is meh. The female Loom mostly gives energy and strength buffs to one ally, and the male Loom is a healer. Even though female Loom may sound promising, she does not impress us on the battlefield enough to reach a tier higher than the C tier, while the male on the other hand has proven to be a solid A tier in battle. Male Loom is a really great choice, if we are lacking a healer in our team. So we may absolutely invest in him if it fits our team comp. The Zeus clan deals AoE damage to enemies, but I don't think either the female or male champion of this clan is worth it. In my eyes, the female is a solid D tier while the male is a C tier. I feel like this clan used to be at the very top in the early days of Bloodline, but all the new champions have slowly pushed them down. So we should steer clear of these ones in my opinion. The Vala clan was also definitely at the very top once upon a time, but as time went by, these champions also lost their value on the battlefield. Currently I believe female Vala to be a C tier, while the male is still kinda useful in the B tier. Both of these champions focus on AoE damage, and if we want to place the male in our team, it may be wise to put him in the front. The Harul clan is not worth spending our resources on in my opinion. Both the male and female champions have not proven to be very helpful in battle. They may not be the absolutely worst clan out there, but they both land on a solid C tier in my opinion. It is better for us to skip past these and summon for higher tier champions instead. The Ignis champions both focus on debuffing the enemy and being sub-DPS. They are preferably placed in either the front or mid area of the battlefield. I personally believe there may be some uses of the male, but only enough to make him a C tier. The female on the other hand looks more like a D tier, and thus we should not aim for her or this clan in general to be honest. There are way better options out there. I feel like the clan called the Scorching Fire may be around the same tier level as Ignis. Both female and male champions of the Scorching clan are AoE damage dealers, who are most suitable in the back or mid area of the battlefield. I think the male could be a C tier, but the female doesn't look useful enough, and I would personally say she falls into the D tier nowadays. So it is better for us to not waste resources on this clan as well. The female champion of our Corbit clan is a pure DPS champion. She looks really promising in my opinion, but I don't think she is great enough for the high tier ranks. I believe she belongs to the B tier for the time being, while the male on the contrary looks more like an A tier. He is a DPS like the female is, but additionally to that he also debuffs the enemies. So if we ever have to choose between either male or female Corbit, I think the male currently is the better option for us. The Water and Sun clan has a brilliant male champion whom I believe to be a S tier to be honest. The male of this clan deals damage, heals and has crowd controlling effects. We should absolutely opt for him over the female, cause I don't think the female even reaches the top tiers unfortunately. She looks more like an average B tier type of champion to be honest. For those of us who acquired and want to use the male, I suggest placing him in either the front row or mid area of the battlefield. That is where he statistically thrives the best. The Travane clan is one of those filler types we should avoid at all costs. Especially the male has proven to be extremely useless and a burden to our team. So I'd say the female fits in the C tier, while the male is a clear F tier. These champions are really bad in PvP battles, but their clan trait may be useful to some extent, and they may also do well in the district. So we could keep them around just for those benefits, but this clan altogether is not a PvP material. The Yivnian clan has a female champion who deals damage and buffs the allies. She functions the best in the back row of the battlefield, and I'd say she is a solid A tier. She contributes well to the team, but not over the top, which is why we cannot place her at the very top of the top. The male, however, does not help out as much in battle, and thus I think of him as an average B tier for now. He can still be useful to us, but we should not pour all our resources into him in my opinion. The Wgap clan also has a really great female champion whom I believe to also reach the A tier scale. She deals single target damage to the enemy, and may work exceptionally well in the back or mid of the battlefield. The male of this clan is unfortunately not as great, and I would say we may consider him for the C tier as of now. He is also a DPS, but additionally he does crowd control. And there is just something that's not quite right about him, that makes him underperform in battle. The Sarak clan both have single-target DPS champions whom I personally think are pretty average. I believe both the male and female to be nothing more than solid B tiers, to be honest. They do not make much of a difference in battle, or push us up to another level in any way. So I think this is the most suitable tier for them. The Serpent clan consists of a female who deals damage and debuffs enemies, and a male who deals damage and does crowd control. I instantly believe the female to be superior to the male, as her skills overall look more promising. I think we may place her in the A tier, while as for the male I personally think he is an average B tier. So the male is useful, but not a game changer unfortunately. And we may invest our resources into the female if we want her in our team. The Griffin clan is almost as bad as the Huntsdorf clan that we talked about earlier. Both champions deal damage in their skills, but they have proven to be really bad in all kinds of battles. In my opinion, I think the male is a D tier, while the female quite certainly is a completely disastrous F tier. And this goes for the Karg clan as well, just to point it out quickly. Both champions of the Karg clan are created to serve as sub-DPS, but they completely lack in battle. In my opinion, I think the male champion has fallen to a D tier, while the female is all the way down to the F tier. So to clarify it a little, clans such as Karg, Griffin, Orost, Huntsdorf and Strixbane should not even be considered for our team. Those clans hinder our team's performance and overall deliver poor results in battle. The Shoten clan is one of the good-looking ones. The female deals damage and disrupts the enemy, while the male acts a little bit like a secondary tank and does crowd control. I think our male here may be high tier. I cannot crown him a S tier unfortunately, but I believe he qualifies for the A tier. As for the female, she hasn't proven to be strong enough for the high tiers. I think she is more of an average champion of the B tiers. So we may use her in battle if we have no better champion available, but I wouldn't invest too much resources on her. It is better to invest in the male of this clan, to be honest. This clan that is not worth mentioning the name of, has a pretty good female champion who both buffs and heals the allies. The male also seems decent to be honest, as he deals AoE-based damage. The female isn't great enough for the S tier, but we may place her in a solid A tier due to her usefulness in battle. As for the male, I think he is an average B tier at most. Both champions work well in either the back row or mid area of the battlefield. The Ignis clan has fallen pretty low in the ranks as time has gone by. Both the female and male of this clan deal AoE-based damage, and prefer to be placed in either the mid-row or back row. I'd say the female has fallen to the third lowest tier, aka the C tier, while the male looks like a F tier in my opinion. This is a clan that used to be very hyped up in the early days of Bloodline, but now it has crashed down entirely. So it is better to not aim for these champions, and instead focus on the better ones. Let us try to rank 5 more promising champions, before we call it a day. The Unmyeong clan is another promising clan that may have a high tier male or female. The female of this clan deals damage and has control effects. Statistically we profit the best from her, by placing her in the front row. After looking at her again, I think she looks like an average B tier type of champion. But the male on the other hand, gives me A tier vibes. He focuses on dealing damage and takes off some of the loads of our tank. I honestly think he is an A tier in PvP battles, so we may try to aim for him if we think he's a great fit in our team comp. The Alma clan's female champ has crowd control and works as a sub DPS. She has proven to work particularly great in the front or midfield in battle. The male of this clan buffs allies and deals damage to enemies. I think the male is a typical B tier, while the female is actually giving me a must-have kind of vibe. I believe we may put the female Alma in the S tier to be honest, due to her performance in battle. So we should aim for her over the male, if we are lucky enough to acquire this clan. The clan called Simmer is one of those clans we should skip over. I think both male and female of this clan are C tiers in pretty much all types of battles. The only place they could be useful is in the districts. Not even their clan trait is worth it, so it is better to steer clear of this clan altogether. The Sith clan has a great male champion and an average female champion. I believe the female to be a B tier, while the male belongs to the A tier. Both of them are DPS champions, and they have proven particularly useful in the front or mid row. The last clan of today is our Soul Keepers. The female acts like a tank and controls energy, while the male has the ability to execute an opponent. This specialty of executing an opponent has pushed the male champion into the A tiers. I also believe the female to be of equal ranking with the male, due to her shown usefulness in battle. So this clan overall belongs to the A tiers in my opinion. This all being said and done, how would you rank these champions? Feel free to share your own opinions with us in the comments section below. By the way, we will also make a part 2, where we rank the remaining champions of Bloodline, so keep an eye out for that video. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. We highly appreciate your support and contribution, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, stay foxy, adios, bye.